Wow, so many updates have been coming out this week. First with Blackmagic's new 18.6.5, which I'll briefly talk about in the beginning. But the real meat of what happened was just yesterday, where Dehancer dropped the latest edition for Windows on their version 7. And today I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to be talking about Dehancer comparing to Film Convert Nitrate. Film Convert Nitrate is probably one of the most popular film emulation software plugins. And like last year, they got a Halation update. And today I wanted to do a comparison because I know a lot of people are looking at it and not necessarily maybe have the funds to get both Dehancer and Film Convert Nitrate. So today I'm going to go into both of these features and compare them and give my thoughts and what would maybe be best suited for you. So this is something that you're interested, tune into this video and be sure to find out. What is going on, everybody? My name is James Jackson. If you're new here, I do tips, tricks, news, and reviews for the film and video making industry. If this is content you like, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you stay up to date on all the content going forth. So, before we dive into Dehancer and Film Convert, let's talk about the recent update on DaVinci Resolve. Blackmagic recently released an update to DaVinci Resolve, which is 18.6.5. And I know one of the big things that was shown on the video or on the support page of Blackmagic is the fact that there is gyroscope stabilization for the Blackmagic full frame, which, by the way, is what is filming me right now. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, gyroscope stabilization has always been available on DaVinci Resolve for the full frame. I've been using it since I got my hands on the 6K full frame. So I was really confused about what this meant. So maybe it was like an improvement in terms of performances. If that is the case, I'll just be honest with y'all, I'm not really seeing that much of a difference between how gyro stabilization was working before, but I'll also give some caveats to that I'm pretty much using manual lenses that don't have the metadata, which if you are using the full frame, it's best to have at least an L mount glass that can connect, that has electronics in it, because all that metadata helps the gyroscope perform significantly better than just using manual focus lenses. Otherwise, you have to sort of start punching all the additional data in so it will perform a lot better. So I'm just putting that up that I've done some tests on it, but quite frankly, I'm really not seeing that much of a difference in it. But it is available. I think the really big update revolving that is that they are now being able to support the Sony Burano, which will be coming out soon into people's hands. So good kudos on Blackmagic to staying up to date on that. But let's go ahead and talk about Dehancer and Film Convert. Now, I want to just start off by being completely open, completely full disclosure. Some of you guys who've been on my channel for a while are aware of this, but for those of you that haven't been to my channel a while, I am an affiliate of Dehancer. I have been given the product, I have reviewed the product, I've done tutorials on it, and I've been asked to do tutorials as well as other things such as their phone version of Dehancer. So I am an affiliate of Dehancer, but I also am an owner of Film Convert Nitrate, and I do own it, and I still use it. And I just want to put that up there so you guys have for full transparency. But my affiliate with Dehancer will not, hold me back on anything I have to say. I've never been told that I can't say anything by Dehancer. So really, it's just been my support, and there is affiliate links for Dehancer. If by the time you see this video, you want to purchase it, where you get 10% discount, the affiliate links are in the description below. But my association with Dehancer will not affect my opinions and biases, no matter what I see. So, having said on that, let's go ahead and let's just dive right into Dehancer versus Film Convert. So now most of you guys probably are aware Film Convert for last month for a while came out with a recent update, and that update, as I'll just drop Film Convert Nitrate in here, was the fact that they've included Halation. And Halation is now, that was one of the big things. And I actually have to say, the Halation in Film Convert Nitrate is honestly really, really good. It's very good. I really do like how it performs. But that's just sort of one thing. I'm gonna drop Dehancer here, and then I'm gonna just right now, just by default, I'm gonna drop Dehancer in here by default, and then I'm dropping Film Convert Nitrate by default. Also, let me just pull up my, let me go ahead and pull up my color management. So right now I'm in DaVinci Wide color management. I'm using DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. Reason why is because when you're working with these sort of film emulations and these things, these plugins, you really want to work in the widest color space possible that you can use. In this case, it is DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. Another option is you can go into an ARRI Alexa color space, especially if you, or ACES if you're using that. They're both very wide color space, wide color gamuts. And I'm going to an output gamma of Rec 709, gamma 2.4. So just so you guys know the color space we're looking at. Which leads us to one of the first very key differences. And this is sort of hopefully we'll see something come about in terms of Film Convert. If you try to put in, there is, right now it's only cameras available for Film Convert. There is no DaVinci Wide Gamut option for that, which is really, really weird. I really wish that they don't have that default profile. I don't even think they have ACES, now that I think about it. Which is a really weird thing, that you have a formulation, but it really doesn't work with some of the wider color spaces outside of ARRI. So if you are going to work in, if you are going to work with Film Convert, the best option is to convert your footage, regardless of what it is. If you can convert your footage to ARRI and work in the ARRI color space, that will be the ideal. You can use CityMatch to sort of put the color space in better position. You can use CityMatch to put your footage, whatever it is, and convert it to ARRI color space. That could be that's probably the better ideal scenario with this. With Dehancer, on the other hand, you can use DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. It has that right there. It also has ACES as well. And then you can also choose your camera profile. So that's one of the big benefits of Dehancer, is that you can actually get, is that you can work with DaVinci Wide Gamut. And actually Dehancer, their preferred method of using Dehancer is actually going through DaVinci Wide Gamut, because it has such a wide color space for you to work with. Dehancer is probably the best option in order to do that. So that's the first thing that you will notice between the differences between the two. The second thing is you kind of lose a lot of the abilities of making some differences, but not much. You can, one of the things you do is you can turn the film stock off. So you can completely disable the film stock if you want to. But it does limit your ability to use certain things, because a lot of the benefits, like the film chroma, which gives you sort of that gives you a lot more of those deeper colors, is built into the film stock. So when you disable it entirely. But you can just use only, you can only do that if you want to just work, hey, I want to just use the grain, I just want to use, so I just want to go ahead and just add, I just want to add some grain to this, and I'll control like the black point level. So I'll just control like my black point level, my midpoint levels, and my highlight portions on my own. So you do have that abilities, and you can go even further into your curves, where you can go more so like, hey, where you can sort of control more of your highlights and your midtones, which I will give Film Convert, I do give Film Convert this credit. It gives you a little bit more control in terms of your curves, and in terms of your mids and your blacks, and that feel more fluid compared to Dehancer. Whereas it feels where Dehancer, and I'll show you, let's just go ahead. With Dehancer, you can also control the black point. Where is it? Right here. So with Dehancer, you can control the black point as we could do with Film Convert, but there's not really a way to control the midpoint, which you can do on Film Convert. So really you're adjusting your black points. You can kind of control the midpoint in the film development, but that's really more to do with like dealing with the contrast if you want to. So you reduce the contrast and then you correct the gamma, based on that. But really in terms of midpoints, there isn't really anything you can do. There's not a lot of control in terms of controlling the midpoint compared to Film Convert Nitrate. However, on the other hand, I will say you do have more control over the film stocks. So you can obviously turn the film stock off, but you can completely disable this, but you still have control over like color density. So you can still take advantage of those, subtractive saturation versus additional saturation. So you can do that a lot more. You can still do that here. You can still work with more of a film tonal contrast, and you can also even put film prints. So you can still get a film print. So you can put a Kodak 2383 film print on here if you want to, and then you can still mess with everything here, and still while adjusting your black point and your white point as well. And again, you can still adjust the total contrast. And I'll blow this up so you can see the difference. The other thing is where we're talking about the film profile, and this is where Dehancer really has the advantage over Film Convert. Is while there's a decent amount of film stocks here that you can go through and you'll probably play with, and you can sort of decide, and you can make adjustments here in terms of how much you want to have the film look more luma and everything. But compared to Dehancer, if we were to turn that on, and you look at the film stocks that you have here, it is like maybe three times as many films emulation stocks that we have compared to the others. And you got a little bit more that's more known and has better understanding. Like you have 250D, 500T. The default is 250D, but you can do 250T. But you can add, so you got Ultramax. So you got all of this here. You got so much, and you got a lot of, and that's just the Kodaks. You got Fuji. You got a ton of Fujifilm options. And then you got Agfa, CityStill, the CityStill 800T, I really do enjoy. And then again, you can still combine that with a film print like Kodak, or you could do like a glossy paper if you want to. You got the Fujifilm, blow this up so you can see. So you got Fujifilm. So there's so much more that you can mix and match with Dehancer in terms of the film emulation looks, including film prints. You can mix and match these guys and really like go to town and just create a completely unique look for each one of these things. And that's just the film, part. And then you can with Dehancer, you also got things like color head, which sort of works. Basically, it's kind of like a white balancing scenario where it's very similar to white balancing, but it does it in sort of the idea of what film is. So you add, if you want to take away blue, you add more yellow. You want to take away, you want to add red, you add reds. You want to take away greens, you add magenta, and it sort of works like that. So like if I was to, you know what? Let me go ahead and turn myself off for a second. So if I was to pull off the waveforms, the vector scope, and I go and I want to just sort of make it sort of line up. I go, okay, this feels a little bit pushed a little bit more to yellow. I kind of want to add a little bit more blue. So I'm going to just slightly just move this in. And I want to I want to actually add some magenta to it. So I'll take away some of that. And then throw in some reds. You can do that. And then you can still add warm tones and cool tones. Now, to be fair to Film Convert, you can do this as well, of adding warm tones and cool tones. So if we were to go to the additional settings and then we actually overlay programs, you got your curves. So you can make all these changes both in the highlight shadows and make those changes how you want. You can add shadow, how much shadow amount, you can add much gain. You can adjust the grain curve. So there's a lot of things that you can make adjustments to. So if I say, hey, I want to make my highlights warm in Film Convert, I could do that. And then, hey, I want to give some contrast. So I'm going to add just a slight bit of blue into the shadows. And then I want to warm up my mids. So just again, to give that little bit of, that little bit of difference, separation. You can do that. So you can do that. It's just I like the way it works better on Dehancer, because again, you can do the same thing where it's like, I want to cool my shadows. So I'm going to cool my shadows, and then I'm going to warm up my midtones, and then I'm going to warm up my highlights just a little bit. But you could also turn down the effect as well in Dehancer. So I was like, I don't want it to be too aggressive. So I'm gonna just sort of bring it down to like 60%. So the effect, you turn this on and turn this off, the effect is still happening, but it's a lot more subtle. So you get the ability to be more subtle with your adjustments and your things in Dehancer versus Film Convert Nitrate. And we can talk about Halation. I will say this with Halation, it's got a nice, really quick things. You can add the easy to like see how much you can add. And then, but it's like we want to take it away, but we want to add some strength to the Halation. Maybe soften it up a little. So you're able to see, because again, when we're talking about doing, film emulation, doing stuff like that, we're not trying to do something crazy unless the project's needs calls for it. We're trying to just be very subtle with it. I do like how quick and easy Film Convert uses their halation method. But with Dehancer, we got presets. We got some presets we can throw in, and then you got some where you can throw the mask and sort of see it. But it takes with Dehancer, it may be a little bit harder to see with there, but you can also go customs and then just like really amplify where you want the source to be. So if you were to do the local diffusion, add some global diffusion. And now you'll really you can start seeing it now. So what in terms of the halation, I feel like you can go to more extremes with Film Convert. You still got a lot, but you can be a lot more subtle and have some more nuance with Dehancer. So to me, it really is kind of more of what's the preferred method. Whereas with Dehancer, you're really going to have to really amplify and really sort of work on where, how much you want to use, how much you want to sort of show, because you got to really push it in order to see it. But the beauty about it is it makes it easy. You can have more control on the subtlety of Dehancer versus Film Convert, where it's a lot more general. It's the strokes, the brush strokes are much more broad versus Dehancer that can give you a little bit more subtlety. So let me again turn the halation view on here, where as you can, and I don't know if you can see this, but then I'll hide myself. It's nice there, but it gives like a little bit more of a smudge, but I've also softened it up. But it feels a lot more broad stroke. It feels like more across, and we can turn up the sensitivity, turn it down, turn the strength up, turn it down. But it feels like there's not as much control of where you can do it versus film convert, versus Dehancer, which you can see we have a lot more control of where the source will be. So we can decide where on the image do we want the halation to sort of sit on. So where on the spectrum do we want it? Where we're not getting the sky, and we have more control. So I think that's the best way I can describe Dehancer. This gives you, this is about control, and this is really, Dehancer gives you the more control, whereas film convert nitrate gives you a lot more of a good broad stroke, a good generalization of a film emulation. And this is also true with the grain. The grain, you have a lot more control, where you can sort of decide if you want 65 millimeter film, 35 millimeter film. With Dehancer, with film convert, you really don't have that option. So you really don't have that option with film convert. You kind of just gotta go with the grain settings that you have. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything. Yeah, you're just kind of going with mainly what you have. And that's sort of where you got, while you do have controls, you have significantly more control, because right now you only are seeing the preset. But if we turn the custom on, you can see how much control we have over it. But the beauty about it is with Dehancer, we have really, really good subtle, we can have presets that we can build. Oh, let me turn the halation off. We got really, really good, a wide variety of presets that we can basically go ahead and sort of help build our look and help create our look. And both of these guys allow you to export these as LUTs, which is especially if you're trying to make and create your own LUTs that you may want to sell. This is required, because if the people don't have Dehancer, you won't be able to transfer those. I will say this, with film convert, do not have halation or grain or any of these. Do not have halation or grain or any of those settings turned on. Because if you have those turned on when you try to export a LUT, it will ruin the look. It will completely ruin the image that you put. You basically, with this, you would basically say, hey, I'm gonna build the look, I'm gonna export that as a LUT, and then you probably throw it back into film convert, where you only touch the grain and the halation in that portion, where you basically turn the film emulation off. If you try to export it with a LUT, it will just ruin everything. With Dehancer, you can export a LUT, but it will not take any of the effects of, say, film grain or halation or any other. It's only going to take like the print, the expand, the develop, the initial piece of this. Once you start adding other things like film, the gate, the weave, the grain, and the halation, bloom, it's not going to take any of those effects. And and just for safety, I would advise you all to turn those all off, just as well as it would be with film convert. I just never have experienced an issue where film convert, where it ruined the LUT. It just didn't take those datas in. The other difference, I will point out another big difference is that film convert lets you go all the way up to 64 cubed, whereas Dehancer will only let you go up to 33 cubed. So you don't have, so you can't make the larger ones that would maybe necessarily be used for, say, for high color capacity monitors, 64, but really 64 and 63 is really designed mainly to be a LUT that you build for the color grading. So you're doing it for the color grading, but 33 is more than enough. And the other thing with Dehancer is you get a lot more. So you get a bloom, you can add a bloom effect with Dehancer, which you cannot do, with film convert. Film convert doesn't have a bloom, but then you can add stuff like film breath, which is that's sort of the film sort of like going it, zooming in and in like the old school film. I never use it. Same thing with gate weave. Gate weave is sort of that where the film would like zigzag. Again, never use it. It's really more very specific. Like you really want to show the like film. But most people, I don't think nobody use it. And overscan is the same. And overscan sort of, it's like showing you the outlines of like the film strip. It'll create like a film strip, and I'll turn it on so you can guys see. But as you and blow it. But as you can see, it sort of creates that like film strip that you can use here. So, and then you can use ultra widescreen. So it's really just like that film script sort of setup, if you want to add that in. So, but I don't use these at all. The vignette also, that's also a cool thing. This vignette is awesome. I use it pretty much all the time. It softens the highlights out. It really creates like just the default, and you still get to make adjustments on where you would like the movement. Maybe you want to bring it out. But I personally have found like the default of the vignette is solid, but you can still make adjustments to your needs, which you cannot do in Film Convert. So if you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, of course, you're saying all of this. You're a Dehancer. You're a Dehancer affiliate, and yes, I am a Dehancer affiliate. But I will say there is one big, for the longest time, was a big drawback of Dehancer, especially for Windows. This may not necessarily be the same for, especially if you have the M1 Max on the Mac side, the Silicon chip Max, but it is very processively intensive. There was several times, especially if I'm editing in 4K, there would be so many times where the Resolve would just crash, because I would make the slightest adjustment in one of the things in Dehancer, and then it couldn't take it, and then it just fell up. It just would crash. Whereas Film Convert, I have never had that, and even as you can see now, it's playing back way better versus Dehancer. Film Convert Nitrate is much better in terms of playback. It's nowhere near as process intensive as Dehancer, but you also have so much more control over Dehancer as well. That did change as of yesterday for Windows, because Dehancer has now put out a firmware where it works a lot more better than with the GPU. It's more compatible with GPUs for on Windows PCs, and I've been testing it for a while. I have not had a crash yet. This is a 4K timeline. I have not had a crash using Dehancer, and as you can see, I've been using Dehancer the whole time. Haven't had a crash. I'm probably still gonna render it out just in terms of dealing with the playback of it, but overall, and also I got a lot of features on, like I got the Halations, I got that. So if I was to let me turn off Halation, let me turn off the film grade, and let me see if there's any other heavy stuff. Nope. So let me try playing it back now. And as you can see, once I turn off the Halation and the film grain, it works a lot better. It's still a bit more choppier than Film Convert, but it's as you can see, it's playing a lot better. It's much smoother now on Windows PC. So now that I've gone through this with you guys, what are my final thoughts? If you were to choose Film Convert or Dehancer, I will say this: prior to this update from Dehancer that was yesterday, I will say this: if you were someone that's on a very time crunch scenario and you knew you were only going to use something like Kodak Vision 3, I would say use Film Convert. It's faster. It gets you pretty much in a general direction of where you need to be. It still gives you so much control over how your image can look, and it was nowhere near as processor intensive, and it's obviously cheaper as well compared to Dehancer. And I would say Film Convert in those instances, if you are doing projects where you're on a time crunch and you need to, if you're a colorist, you need to get this out as quickly as possible, Film Convert, in my eyes, was the better option. But since that update, Dehancer to me is still the better option, even though it is definitely more expensive than Film Convert. The amount of options and the amount of creativity, the fact that they actually have a pipeline where you actually work with DaVinci Resolve color management, or you could work with ACES, or a lot of variety of high color space, whereas Film Convert doesn't really have that. You kind of just got to convert it to Rec. 79, sort of work in the Rec. 79 space. Dehancer actually lets you work in these high color space, which gives you a lot more freedom to really go and make it. The film stocks is significantly more than Film Convert. The options that you can do, it has, and then it's bloom, it's halation, and film grain have a bit more fine control. But the trade-off is, it is definitely going to be more taxing on your computer, especially a Windows PC, but it's a lot better after yesterday. And I would definitely recommend Dehancer if you have the time to really fine tune your look. To me, Dehancer, you can get the look on that one node and really tweak it to get you like 98% there. Whereas Film Convert, I feel like will get you probably about 80% there, which is still pretty good. And you still got, so many other tools in Resolve that can really push you down past the pipeline, and that pushes you into the finish line. But Dehancer just has so much more control. So I definitely recommend, I still recommend Dehancer, but I still, if I got a really tight turnaround, I may pull out Film Convert. I still use Film Convert to create my LUTs that you see, some as like the Resolve Color Management LUT pack that I just recently released on my Selfie store. You can go check it out there. Some of those are built on Film Convert, some of those are built on Dehancer. So I do use both. It's just a matter of preference. I will say this: if you need the quickness, and if you're only going to work in Kodak Vision 3, or it's like the main Fuji film print or the main Fuji film emulation that they use, if those are really the only spaces you're going to be working with, I would say go with Film Convert. However, if you're going to want to really see the different cinema styles and film emulations, I would say Dehancer, definitely Dehancer all the way. But these are my thoughts. I would definitely love to hear what you guys think. Let me know, leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.